NFL GMs.
NFL GMs, they have to make decisions on the 2021 first-round draft picks, whether or not they're going to pick up their options.
Yeah, this is an interesting wrinkle that we have this year specifically, because usually, like, you either have your yeses or your nos, and it's pretty clear. And this year, make no mistake, there's a lot of guys that you can just say yes. Jamar Chase, yes. Trevor Lawrence, obviously yes. But then there's some tough ones that you have. I mean, and one of them is the centerpiece of he could be on the trade block, Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with Justin Fields?
If you're the Bears and you're smart, you trade him, which means they'll keep him.
So Justin Fields, you'd have to pick up his 5th-year option.
$22 million.
And you have to do it by May 1st, I believe. And it was because he's played so much. So there's 3 different categories that you have here, or actually 4 different categories that you have. You have the basic 5th-year option for a first-round pick, and this is only pertains to first-round picks from the 2021 draft.
Trey Lance, you think his is getting picked up?
You have your first 3 years, and after the 3rd season, you have to pick up that option or not, and then he'll be a free agent after this 2024 season. So there's the basic one, and they're all scaled based on where you were slotted and what your pay was. And then there's escalators. There's a playing time escalator. So if you've played a certain amount of snaps, I think it's 75% of the snaps in the first 3 seasons, or 2 of the first 3 seasons. Then you have, if you've made 1 Pro Bowl or if you've made 2 Pro Bowls, there's escalators for all of those things on what the 5th-year option will be.
Your 3 multiple Pro Bowlers are Jamar Chase, Patrick Surtain II, and Micah Parsons.
Guess what? Those guys
getting picked up.
No-brainer. Trevor Lawrence, no-brainer. But Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, those guys are probably no's.
Yeah. Penei Sewell.
But that's 100% yes. But then you have your question mark guys. And I think a big question mark guy is Justin Fields.
For sure.
But if he gets traded, there's no doubt that team is picking up his 5th-year option because you want him for that extra year.
Yeah, because that's the whole point, is you're trading for him. The other one in here, the quarterback, is Mac Jones.
Mac Jones is I think the New England Patriots are going to try and draft a quarterback. I don't think they go first-round quarterback, but because they've got so many other holes. And this is the problem with Mac Jones. Your offensive line, hell, we talked to Bill Burr. This is weird. We talked to Bill Burr.
About the Patriots
in hour number 1, and the point is correct. I was talking about this. The offensive line and the wide receivers were dreadful for the Patriots this year.
I love how Bill Burr went straight into very distinguished sports analyst.
But he was right. Yeah. In that Mac Jones didn't have a damn chance.
No way. The Patriots fans agreeing.
So this is, I think that when you have so many other holes to fill, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and draft Bo Nix and say, hey, play behind this crappy offensive line and with these garbage receivers, and we're going to expect something different from you.
We would call it the Mario Cristobal experience.
You just go, well, except for he has a really good offensive line.
That's true, yeah.
He always has a really good offensive line.
That was a bit of a cheap shot at Cristobal.
But so that's why I think they probably do pick up that 5th-year option, and then they go down the road of, all right, we got to bolster the offensive line. We actually have to get him some legitimate targets with an actual GM making the picks and not Bill Belichick evaluating wide receiver talent, which is god-awful over his 20 years. And then you give him a chance. I think he gets that 5th-year option. What do you do with a guy like Kyle Pitts, though, in Atlanta? Some will say that should be a no-brainer.
I would 100% pick it up, particularly after firing your coach.
But you go, all right, now we're going to try to feed the beast here, because they did. We can't do that.
They did it with Drake London, and it was like, turns out really good
idea.
Maybe, I don't know, involve Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson and go, hey, this 3-headed monster, if we get a quarterback there who's worth a damn and a coach who can call an offense, maybe, just maybe, they'll be successful.
Speaking of that, the Steelers have a tough one with Najee Harris, too. Najee Harris is a guy where you saw him come to life, and he's had these spurts where you're like, damn, he can be pretty good. But he's also in a system where you're like, all right, is Arthur Smith, do we want to give him this money banking that he will pop under Arthur Smith and have him for 2 more years? Arthur Smith has always been, his running backs have never been the issue.
Yeah.
His running backs have never been the issue.
The flip side is
back.
his number is only 6.6.
And so
I think you probably do it.
But is that going to hamper you if and you're not completely void of talent in the backfield, but if you bring in another quarterback this year, and you're going to have to pay him more money,
or if you trade for Justin Fields,
whether it is Justin Fields, or say you go out and make a run at Kirk Cousins, and you say, all right, Kirkers, we're going to put you in the black and gold,
$40 million,
and there's no God. The only team dumb enough would be the Vikings, and they go ahead, just riddle yourself in mediocrity at $40 million for Kirk Cousins, and I do not want to hear. I know we're going to see him, the text defending Kirk Cousins. He is not.
Don't.
Whatever you are saying about his stats and how good no.
He's a wonderful compiler.
You can have great stats and not have it.
No.
And that it factor is, will he lift your team in the most crucial times and situations?
I thought the it factor you're going to say is the it that he is missing is his Achilles.
Well, that too. But Pittsburgh isn't a tough one with Najee Harris. But speaking of Achilles, in New York, Elijah Vera Tucker, who's an offensive lineman, dude has played on every single position on the O-line. He ruptured his Achilles, and he had a knee injury the year before. But when he plays, he's your most reliable offensive lineman.
It's not even just a reliable offensive lineman. He's a Pro Bowl caliber offensive lineman. So you got to know
But he's not healthy.
But the injury stuff is particularly that position. And my God, that team's line has been beat to death the last couple of years. So you just kind of go, do you move on?
There are some legitimate question marks, and I think everybody's eyes are those set on Justin Fields. Justin Fields is the biggest albatross of this whole thing because his number is going to be at $22 million for that fifth year. Not this next year, but the year after, because you have to pick it up before their fourth season.
And the draft, I think, is essentially a week before.
Million.
So they're going to make that decision.
Oh, yeah.
The draft is April 24th?
Yeah, it's the last week in April.
Okay. So over those couple of days, I think the decision will be made about what's going to happen there. And if he's traded, it gets picked up. Like if Justin Fields 100%. Gets traded, it gets picked up. If he's still with the Bears, I think there's a chance that it doesn't get picked up. As weird as that seems.
I think you pick it up and then you deal him. You pick it up knowing that, we're not trading you a guy with an expiring contract this year. You'll have 1 year of a runway with him.
Okay.
Yeah, and because I think that's how it may work, because you may want to trade him post-June 1, to get a little bit of cap alleviation for you instead of trading him with his big number and breaking it up a little bit. But I think Justin Fields, his fifth-year option gets picked up. I think he's good.
Good for him.
Not Zach Wilson, not Trey Lance, though.
No.
Especially after Woody Johnson threw Zach Wilson under the bus.
My God. I mean, if you're trying to trade a guy, you don't do it publicly,
buddy,
man.
You're the one that signed off on drafting him. To say we didn't have a competent backup, you drafted him second overall. I think that says more about the Jets.
God, I mean, that quarterback class is just shaping up to be a disaster. Ugh.
Outside Trevor Lawrence, he could carry it. He could carry it.
Yeah, I mean, if he turns into a Hall of Famer, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, look at that draft, though, outside of the quarterback.
Oh, outside of that, though. I mean, you get past Wilson, Lance, Pitts, Chase, Waddle, Sewell, Horn, Surtain, Devonta, and then Fields. Then Parsons, Slater, Vera Tucker. I mean, my goodness, that is a phenomenal top 14 out of what? 3 bad picks?
Yeah, most of them quarterbacks.
The quarterbacks. The rest of them, I don't see an issue with any of those picks.
Nah.
And that's a good top 14. If you go into any draft with that much talent coming out of it, I think you've done good.
Absolutely.